Hello everyone, my name is Jorge Diaz, President and Founder of Larry Jacob Internet Marketing and an Infusionsoft Certified Consultant. I'm here with another episode of How Do You Describe Infusionsoft Success, or Defining Infusionsoft Success. I'm fortunate today to have Jacki McLanighan. Did I pronounce that right, Jacki?
McLanighan, close, it's a hard one.
You know, it's funny because I've been spelling it now, and I remember when we were talking, it is a difficult one to spell, and it's Jacki with an I. Jacki, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, so Jacki and I met through either a LinkedIn or a Facebook campaign that she had a little over probably a year and a half ago. And she started a daily video. Very entertaining. We're going to share with you an example of what one of those looks like. And it just really caught my attention. And I sit there and I study other people's marketing and I go, you know, this lady is someone I'd like to get to know better. You know, you study people who seem to, I mean, if they're catching my attention and I'm bombarded just like everybody else with this stuff, she's got to be doing something right. And then ends up that it was followed up where we have people that we know in common. So we met at PartnerCon last year, and then we've been to other events. We call her events Jacki Cons, just because we got to call them something, and the name of her events are a little longer. But, you know, so we've gotten to know each other, and I want to cover an event that I'm going to be attending in a couple weeks, and the services she does, because she's really into video. She's really into helping people use video effectively in their marketing and branding and for speakers. So, you know, that's probably enough of me. Jacki, why don't you introduce yourself so people get a little bit, you know a little bit more, and how you got into this?
Sure, no problem. So I own a company called Pure Potentials, and what I do is I help speakers get more exposure and build their speaking business. And video, as you know, is a huge component for getting so much recognition and for getting that attention, and most importantly for showcasing your own unique personality, which I think is really important for anyone who's trying to stand out, because that's what we're selling nowadays. We have to sell our personality. I guess I got into this. This wasn't my original career. I was a theater producer for, you know, probably 15 years, theater producer and performer. And I ran my own company, and that parlayed into corporate entertainment, which is kind of a funny industry.
I did not know that. Okay. So
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had this theater company, and we would do all kinds of corporate entertainment. So if there was a Christmas party, I'd get a crew in there and we would entertain them, and you know, it was a really great thing. And so what happened to me personally is I thought, you know, I think I want to maybe get some personal development classes and do this and that, and I ended up getting trained in different modalities of health and wellness. And so then I thought to myself, you know, I'm going to maybe do these health and wellness presentations and put these events on, because I am a producer. And I started these trade shows that I would bring in different speakers, and they would come and they would talk about what they were passionate about, their different health and wellness techniques. And I'd put on stages, so it was very much like doing a theater production, but it was more in the health and wellness industry.
So the topic changed, but the production the production was similar. I'm assuming, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we were doing productions like entertainment pieces, and then we were doing sort of education events, trade shows, conferences, things like that. And I really found that I wanted the speakers to be able to expand what they were doing, either get their speaking skills sharpened, find a way to do better marketing, because as a theater producer, you don't have any money and you have to market.
Yeah.
So
right.
You do it on grit, your personality, and a whole lot of creativity. So I think that's one of the strengths that I bring to the game, is that there's a lot of small business owners that don't have a lot of cash to dump into huge campaigns, and what they need to do is they need to find a way to be creative, to stand out and get their message noticed from people.
Right,
so that's
right.
Kind of how I got into it. Yeah.
No, right. And if you went back years, I mean, just the cameras alone were a fortune to buy. Yeah. And what used to take, you know, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, I mean, you know, people are doing it with, you know, one of these, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, a tripod, a little bit of lighting, and before you know it, you know, maybe you spend $200 if you really splurged on lighting, but you can get by with minimal budgets. But then, okay, now I'm in front of camera. What do I do?
Yeah.
You know,
well, that's exactly
I'm boring, right?
Yeah, this is a lot of things that people think too. I mean, I've invested in every kind of camera equipment you could imagine, and I have the setup and I've spent the money, but I do really encourage people to do things that are simple so that they can get their message out there. But George, you're 100% right. They stand in front of the camera and they go, I've got the tech figured out, so yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, and for example, yeah, no, and this is something, for example, like right now we're doing a video, right? Well, this is using the webcam on my machine. I'm assuming you're using your webcam, right?
Yeah.
So that's about as sophisticated. I actually do this in a room that has a lot of natural light coming in from my backyard, and that's it. I know you're inside and you're using. You probably have a light in front of you, right?
Well, you know what? Because I know the principles of lighting, I actually have some track lighting, and I tilted it so that I'd have some depth and for your video.
Oh, okay.
So I did use some principles of lighting.
So this is something I didn't do, but okay, I got you. But I'm saying, and then I'm doing a screen capture, which I'm using a $50 piece of software, and we're ready to go. So that's how sophisticated it can be. So budgets is not something you have to be too concerned about. But you've mentioned personality at least 5 times so far. So mention that a little bit more. And after we do that, I'm going to show your personality in one of the videos that I just think is really cool.
Well, I don't think everyone has to have this exuberant and goofball personality. I think they have to just bring out what's important to them, right? So even with you, George, I noticed that you are so much more relaxed from when you first started doing the videos. You really are George now. And when that particular shift for you has made the quality of your videos exponentially better. Never mind the lighting, never mind any of that. People can now relate to you because the people who like you, who are in your tribe, can now see who you actually are. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen people who are, these great big personalities, and they get in front of the camera and they're like, hi, I'm so-and-so, and you're like, where did you go? And it's because there's things that intimidate you. And when you're putting together a video, even though you're really wanting to showcase that personality, there is a process that you have to follow. And I know you know that because you've gone through all of the tech. You've learned what you needed to do to make this style of videos. And I know that you have because I've seen your process, So, yeah. Right.
And so, again, it's not that you have to have a great personality. It's everybody has a personality. How do you make that come through in your video as part of a story that you tell, in the process of trying to market your business, right?
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you right now that the value of creativity for me is massive. Everybody can become more creative. It's just a muscle that you can use. And being creative with your content is something that you absolutely have to do. You owe it to your audience right now. You just do, because otherwise you're going to stand up there, regurgitate a bunch of information that people already know, and instead you have to find, how can I make this? We have to be entertaining nowadays.
Yeah, no, and you must. And I tell you what, it was, I remember when I started listening to your programs, and you were doing like short 1-minute videos every day, I'm going, I have no idea what she's selling, but I'm intrigued. And that was, that was part of the attraction to it. And, this gets into, if you've ever read that book, The Purple Cow, how do you become remarkable in some way? And it doesn't have to be, again, you're not going to see me doing, those videos that you see some of these women do that are like, because that's not who I am anyway. But what you want to do is capture something. I mean, first of all, you have to be authentic. Otherwise, you can't put up the act forever unless you want to be an actor forever. And maybe that is what you do. But it's the personality of your field. And for example, this program is for gearheads. I mean, it's for people like me, people who are in the Infusionsoft space. So again, we're not trying to entertain, people. I mean, it's not an entertainment show. So again, it's all relative, and you have to be specific to your industry.
Yeah. I think you're 100% right, but you still want to be engaging, right? Like you still want to have some engaging content. You want to be talking in a manner that's making people feel like you're having this conversation directly with them, especially in a program like this. And, people sit there and they think, well, I can just get up there and talk about this one thing because this is an information-based program, but that's only part of it. You actually have to know, and you nailed it right on the head. Who are you talking to? And a lot of people get out there and they go, I don't know what you're doing, Jackie. And it doesn't matter that they don't know what I'm doing because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, right.
I know that when I put out a video and I'm entertaining them, that I'm going to get phone calls from people going, how did you do this? How did you make that video slide across the screen? How did you get the backdrop to look like this, right? And I'm doing this in more of a theatrical way, which is more of a show instead of a tell.
Yeah.
But you can't really do that on a program like yours, right?
Right. Now let me do this. I'm going to grab, if I could find your thing. I'm going to get your video here, and I'm going to just play it, probably just like the first 15, 20 seconds. So here's Jacki. Let's listen to her in action here.
I really don't, but most business owners are not capitalizing on their opportunities. And there are 11 reasons why these opportunities are falling through the cracks. All right, number one.
I'm not seeing it on the screen.
Your attraction magnet, the thing that draws people in, might not be interesting enough for them. A lead magnet is something like your
okay. I'm gonna stop it there, but you get an idea. So Jacki comes through, and sometimes you use your glasses, sometimes you don't. I've noticed that. Your glasses are kind of your signature. But so this is actually a video that works really well for me because we build the kind of things that you're helping people talk about. But as you can see, she's actually doing some video here. It's not that. I mean, I'm not trying to trivialize. It's not that complicated. She's done some really cool editing and adding the music, which I think is what makes it interesting. And part of your program is, okay, how do I get to something like this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of different things for people if they're coming to me looking to make more engaging video. I'd always start with the content. I'd always start with what is the purpose of what you're doing. So I'll give you an example. I ran a workshop where people wanted to learn how to make a video, how to edit that, and to be engaging. And for the very beginning part of the workshop and a good chunk of it, I wasn't even letting them get behind a camera because I wanted them to know why are you doing this?
Right.
If you don't know why you're doing this, then no one else is going to know why you're doing this. So you better have either some reason or some strategy in place, but you're not going to stand in front of that camera and waste your time and everyone else's if you don't. So then you get up there, you get your performance down because there's a performance, and I don't care if you're talking to gearheads, you have a performance structure, and you've been doing that, George. You've gotten into your cadence, so you know what you're doing when you talk to people. But this isn't a natural thing. People see the camera, they freak out. There's a lot of tips and ways that you can overcome that. There's ways that you hold your body. There's ways that you stand. There's little things that you need to know about the lighting to get it in the can properly first, so that you don't have to do a bunch of editing. Because a lot of people aren't like me, and that's a really important part.
And let me tell you, I avoid editing with a passion because it's so time consuming, and it's an art form. So I totally get that.
I like doing it, but there's also a lot of tools that I show people that they can use that they don't have to do anything, and it looks like they've edited it, right?
Well, interestingly enough, one thing that I'm seeing a lot of, and I'm sure you have, is Facebook Live videos.
Yeah.
Which I think, like for example, today, and I won't mention names, but he's one of the guys that's been on my program. The guy is flying from the UK to Chicago, and so he did a live in Chicago. And he's never been there, so here's this Brit, and he's about to start running and whatever. And doing stuff like that, you're doing it in front of a Facebook audience. In a lot of cases, it's pretty safe. But it forces you to watch yourself on video.
Yeah.
And catch your ums and your stutters. And, like for me, one of the things that I found is when I don't wear glasses, my eyes are too closed. And it took forever to figure out how to fix that. And I know my ums are much fewer than they used to be. And it was just something that I had to just work out. And it's only by doing that I think you can fix those things.
Yeah. It's funny you're saying that because for me, editing myself for hours and hours, you find out what's wrong with you really fast. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I 100% agree with you on that one.
So, okay, so I'm not a speaker, but I think a lot of folks that watch this, they're small business owners. And so, for example, one of my things is I'm building lead magnets, so I want to build, video sales letter, VSLs, right? So is there a program you have for that, or is there a process?
First of all, I'm going to call you out right now because you 100% are a speaker. What you're doing right now is you're using speaking in your business to leverage what you're doing and to grow your revenue. That's what you're doing. You're speaking.
Okay, so I've been corrected. I've been corrected. Thank you.
And that's a whole other thing too, where people think, well, I'm not a speaker, I'm a small business owner, but you are nowadays on Facebook Live, making your videos, making your products, we're all producers, writers, speakers, and actors now.
Yeah.
Yay! Welcome to my world.
No, right. And for example, it's so easy to create a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that YouTube ranks in search so well. I recorded one of these videos, and I think it was last Monday's video. And I'm working with an SEO guy, and we were doing a search, and it's like, oh my God, I didn't put that on YouTube until Monday, and it's already ranking super high because of the words I used in the YouTube descriptions and things like that. So I mean, there's a lot of power to it.
Yeah, there is. And to go back to your question, there's a lot of different tools that I use depending on what a client would need. So when you ask me is there a product for that, I would probably look at what you're trying to accomplish first. I do a lot of, no, I'm saying, I do things like put on group events. Like one of the things that I'm having that you're attending coming up at the end of October is a speakers retreat, where we look at the different components of what you need in a speaking business. Do you need a process for creating content? Do you need a speaker's media kit? Do you need to know how to do video strategy? Do you need to, so yes, there are products and people and connections that I have in all of these different areas, but it really comes down to what are you trying to accomplish and where are you on your path?
Yeah, no, and that's interesting because I remember when you said speakers, it's like, oh, well, Jackie doesn't have anything for me. But the more I talk to you, and we've spoke about this, especially when we were at that last mastermind, that I'm using a lot more video, and I'm using, I mean, you were giving me some tips that I thought were really cool, yet I'm not a stage speaker by design. I mean, that's maybe in the future, but I do a lot of these sort of things, and I plan on, like the fourth quarter and first quarter next year, I plan on doing a lot more of this because it's just a natural part of the marketing. It's an easy way to get the word out.
Yeah, and people get to know you, and so it really takes that barrier down right away. Why do you think speakers go up there? And they want to inspire, they want to educate, they want to offer a back-end product or service. Exact same thing that you do.
Yeah. No, and like I'll go now. Next week we're going to be at PartnerCon, so it's a big partner hoopla down in Phoenix, and one of the things I'm spending a lot of time is seeing how my videos have been perceived without asking about them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call them and say, hey, did you see me on video? But I know that when I was at another one of these in March, there were a lot of people who was like, yeah, you're that guy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an informal way of gauging, okay, are people noticing it, even if they don't remember my name, which is secondary. I don't care if they know my name.
I have a funny story about that. I was at Icon, and I was playing a game, because I like to get into shenanigans, but I was going around the conference center, and I was trying to trade things. Were you there? Did you see me doing that?
No, I didn't.
So anyways, I took a plastic egg, and I ended up just cutting to the chase. I ended up turning it into a cell phone. I made trades, and so one of the things that I was doing is I was making this one particular trade, and this man was looking at me like this, and I was thinking in my mind, I am nailing this sales speech right now. I'm giving the greatest presentation ever. And what he said after was, I like your videos. So I had already warmed him up to have this encounter with me, but I thought I was meeting him for the first time.
Right, but he knew who you were. No, and even at Icon back in March, there was someone there that, you're sitting there, working on your laptop, and someone comes up and says, they're like, we've met, haven't we? And I go, I'm sorry, I don't think so. He goes, you're that guy. And, and then he traced it back to the videos. And at the time, I'd only been doing this for 3 or 4 months. So especially if you target your videos, which is something I definitely do, there's a lot that can come out of that. So, Jackie, thanks for, this is only a short time that we've had together, but I know we're going to see each other next week at PartnerCon, and then later in October we call it JackieCon, but what's the real name for it?
It's the Pure Potential Speakers Retreat, and it's a really hands-on implementation type of a retreat where we're going to do things like learn about how to make your own videos, speakers kits, do some seeing how your message is perceived. There's my favorite one that we're doing is called Camera Charisma 101, so it's just a fun way to get comfortable in front of the camera. And we're going to have some other speakers who are talking about a lot of different other components of building a speaking business and getting your name out there.
Cool. And I know that's going to include, you had said we're going to do videos. So you've got cameras and you're going to get lighting, and so people who are ready for it, I guess you could actually come out of there with some content, right?
You're coming out of there with content for sure.
Cool. Cool, cool. So if they want to meet you, what's your URL? We'll also publish that along with the video.
Sure. It's purepotentials.com. So that's purepotentials with an S.com. And if you want to find out about the retreat, it's under the events tab.
Great, great. Well, hey, Jacki, thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you real soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, George.